Ahoy, mateys! Gather round and lend an ear for the Solo Gamers Club be hoisting the colors tonight. We're slipping back to the dawn of the 18th century, where the seas were fat with treasure ships and the hangman's rope swung a little too freely for a pirate's comfort. We'll be stepping into the boots of the notorious Captain Peter Blood, hoping to claw our way to 100 notoriety and retire with enough gold that'd make even King James choke on his tea. We'll start with but a modest ship, a half-sober crew, and a dream far bigger than our purse. We'll be casting off into either the North Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gold Coast, or the far-flung Indian Ocean, as our ragtag band will be sniffing out booty, plunder, and any merchantman foolish enough to sail within cannon's reach. But we'll need to mind our step as other pirates be prowling the same waters, eager to snatch glory from under our nose. And the more infamous we become, the more the great powers of the world will rouse their warships and dispatch king's commissioners to remind us that the life of a sea dog doesn't pay. So we must keep a watch and a weathered eye on the horizon, and sharpen our cutlass, and stow enough rum to steady our nerves. It's time to set sail into Blackbeard, the Golden Age of Piracy from Avalon-Hill Games. And so we're going to take command of the Arabella, and we'll be playing as Dr. Peter Blood, and he has now become Captain Blood. And we'll go over some of the statistics for Peter Blood, and you'll get a better understanding of what these things do. Ability is the pirate's naval and combat skill rating from 1 to 5. The higher the number, the better. Cruelty. Pirate's reputation for dastardly deeds, which adds to his notoriety. Leadership. The pirate's ability to control his crew. The higher the better. Think of it as charisma. Then we have cunning. The number of times that a pirate may re-roll the dice. Place an appropriate number marking his cunning on his ship's log to record the amount. Then we have the duel ability. The first number is the pirate's swordplay ability on attack. The second represents his defensive ability. And finally we have endurance, and that's the number of times that a pirate may parry an otherwise lethal blow in the same duel. Place an appropriate number marker on endurance space of his ship's log to record the amount. Okay. Well, let's take a look at some of the vessels that we can command in the game. The most common pirate vessel is the sloop. It has a combat rating of 6, very good speed modifier with +3, and it has 2 holds. And this is the most common ship that a pirate would command. Another vessel is a schooner. Now this is similar to the sloop, except it has a combat level of only 5. Same speed rating, 2 holds, but it has a special ability called coastal evasion. A schooner is a narrow draft boat, meaning that it can go into much shallower waters than a lot of the warships or king's commissioners that would be stalking the pirates. So we can use this schooner for its coastal evasion ability. And that can come in quite handy. In this game, once your notoriety rises, you're going to be under fire from a lot of different areas. And these schooners can help if you're operating in a lot of coastal areas. Most commonly, the schooners you'll be finding in the Caribbean, because there is a large amount of coastal areas there. Next is the brigantine, or brig. Now this has 3 holds rather than 2. Its speed modifier is only a +1 though, but it has a combat level of 8. And these are quite handy if you're planning on doing any port raids. That extra firepower comes in quite handy. And finally we have the 3-masted square rigger. This has a combat value of 10, and this is the strongest ship that a pirate can command in the game. The problems with it is because it's so large, has only a speed modifier of 0, so it makes escapes very tough. This does have 5 holds though, which is very handy. Our pirates are going to be marked on the board with these pirate tokens. On one side is the ship not anchored, and the other side with the white background is when the ship is anchored in port. Another type of vessel that we can run across are merchant ships. When the yellow side is up, that is a merchant ship deployed on the board, but we don't know its statistics. When it's flipped over, you'll see a flag there, in this case S, that's the Spanish ship, and its defense strength, in this case 7. Another type of ship is a warship. Those have a red background when they're deployed on the board. Once we uncover them, it'll tell us what type of ship it is, its strength, and its movement. And many of these will be flagged vessels. In this case, it's a British 3-master. And finally, we have King's Commissioners. These will be named individuals. The left side number is its strength. The right side is its movement. On the reverse side is when that King's Commissioner is anchored in port. These will work hand in hand with the King's Commissioner's display on the map board. And this is the King's Commissioner's display. And here we're going to chart whenever a King's Commissioner takes combat damage or speed damage. We will mark this just as we do on our pirate ships, using the combat and speed tokens. Now on the map, you'll notice that we have darker blue and lighter blue hexes. The darker blue hexes are open ocean. The lighter blue are coastal. And as we had mentioned before with the schooners, when you're operating in coastal areas and you're operating a schooner, you can have a special evasion ability. But there are problems that can happen in coastal areas. If we're hit with a storm, you'll be taking 2d6 damage to the vessel. Whereas if you're caught in a storm in the open ocean, it's only a 1d6. So when you're operating these coastal areas, it's a little bit of plus and minus. Now we're going to be matching up against 2 other dummy players, and they're going to be operating up to as many as 3 pirates each, one at a time. And we're going to be able to win the game in one of a couple ways. First way is we want to try to get 100 notoriety and retire as the wealthiest pirate of the Golden Age of Piracy. Another way is for us to outlast the other 2 dummy players. And if we can make them exhaust their pirates, we'll win by default. Now in this game, it's basically a sandbox game. We can move and sail to any place we want to on the map, which includes the North Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, the Gold Coast of Africa, or the Arabian Sea off the coast of India. In our travels, we're going to attempt to pick up as much booty as possible, and at the meantime, raise our notoriety up to 100 points. But in the same token, the more notorious we get, the more pressure is going to be applied to us from crowned heads of Europe. Okay, we are going to be starting the game. I'm going to be player number 1. There's going to be a total of 3 players. We don't know which pirates we're up against yet. The action deck is going to determine not only whose turn will be up next, but all of the other random elements in the game. Now we've randomly placed out 6 governors and 6 merchantmen. We don't know the status of the merchantmen, but the governors we do know. And up in New York, we have an anti-pirate governor called Belmont. We have a pro-pirate governor in Virginia, Phipps. We have a pro-pirate governor in Portobello named Trott, and an anti-pirate governor at will in Caraco. In Martinique, we have Collingwood, pro-pirate governor. And finally, in India, we have, in the Dutch port of Severendrung Island, we have Spotswood, and he is anti-pirate. In the Indian Ocean, there are 3 merchantmen plowing the seas. Another merchantman is off the coast of Africa and the Gold Coast. And in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, there are 2 merchantmen at sea. All right, we've shuffled our deck, and we have the first turn, so we are considered to be the last mover. I've created these player aids for myself, both the last mover and last cunning use. Cunning is an interesting mechanism in the game. You can use your cunning. It's very hard to get it back, but there are ways to get it back, but it allows you a reroll, and you can reroll certain game elements using cunning. But once you do, you get the last cunning use token, and you can't use it until another pirate uses it. So sometimes they will be holding you at bay because you've used your cunning, and they know that you can't use it again until they do. Interesting mechanism. We're going to be operating a sloop, which has a combat level of 6 and a +3 speed modifier to start out with. We have no net worth and no notoriety at this time. We've got 2 holds in the vessel. Nothing is in the holds at this point. We have our cunning of 6 and endurance of 6 to start out with. We have no hostages. So our first step is we're the current last mover, and we will draw a card and see who has the initiative. And we look under the 3-player game. It's going to be player number 3. All right. Now I'm going to bring up a list of all of the operations that are available to our pirates in this game, and there's quite a few. Pirate operations consist of move and possibly search or attack a port. We can attempt to take a prize if we're on the location of a merchant ship, and then possibly declare debauchery and revelry if we're successful. We can activate a new pirate. The next one is sell booty and possibly declare a debauchery and revelry, purchase a safe haven, or a letter of marque. Letter of marque gives us the ability to hunt pirates, or I should say hunt merchant ships of other nations. We can ransom a passenger if we have one, refit our ship if it gets damaged. We can assault or sack a port. We can recover if we're wounded in a port. We could retire voluntarily, or we can careen a ship or remove careen, and that's the barnacles on the ship. Occasionally we need to do that. Now we're also going to have the ability to operate King's Commissioners, and there's several list of operations that the King's Commissioners can undertake. First one is to petition the Crown for a King's Commissioner if without one. We can't do that unless we've got other pirates on the board with at least a notoriety of 11. We can move. We can move that King's Commissioner and attempt to bring some of these other enemy pirates to justice. We can attempt to intercept and, if successful, attack a pirate in the same hex. They could recover, refit, or careen their vessel. So those are the options. So the first action for player 3 is to determine who his pirate is. We get out our pirate deck. We're going to give that a cut, and then whatever card is at the bottom of that cut will be player number 3. So let's do that. And we've got Captain John Taylor. He is going to be operating the Victory and the Cassandra. Let's see what his capabilities are. All right, he's fairly able. He's got 4 ability, 3 cruelty, 3 leadership, 3 cunning, a dual attack of 3, dual defense of 2, with 3 endurance. So we'll get out John Taylor's ship token, and we'll have to decide if he's going to be using a schooner or a sloop. So we've got John Taylor, and he's commanding a sloop. 3 cunning, and 3 endurance. And so, John Taylor is going to be our last mover, and we're going to place him on the map. Well, there's 3 prizes on the India map, so I think we are going to place Captain Taylor in space 56. That'll be his turn. Now, once we place a pirate on the board, we have to set the crew unrest level. It starts at 7. And these actions are going to adjust the crew unrest. And we never want them to get down to the mutiny level, obviously. We want to get that crew morale as high as possible. Our next action. It says, warship intercepts the most notorious pirate. Now, in the case of this card, warship intercepts most notorious pirate, that is going to be the last mover is in control of that card. So he would collect all of the warships that are out on the map, put them back into the draw cup, and draw 1 and place it on another enemy pirate's location. Well, in the case of John Taylor, he is the only active pirate, so that card will not be able to be played. And we'll draw another one. And our next card is player number 1, and that's us. So Peter Blood is coming out on the map. So as Peter Blood is not currently active, we are forced into activating our new pirate anywhere we choose. And I think we're going to start Captain Blood in the Gulf of Mexico. And we're going to place him on top of transit box 23. There is a merchant underneath him. And that is where he's going to start. And his crew morale is also going to begin at 7. So we'll mark him accordingly. So Captain Blood is our last mover, and he's in control of the deck. And we'll have him turn over another card. And we've got remove even merchants. Okay. So what we do with this card is we examine the map and we remove merchants from every location that is an even numbered location. So checking the map, we look for even numbered transit boxes. 32 is an even number. 56 is an even number, so Captain John Taylor has lost his target. And the other merchantman is up in 45, so those are all odd-numbered merchants. We'll put those back into the cup, and now we're going to draw another card and place a fresh merchant in that shipping lane number. So consulting the card, we've got number 13. So we place a random merchant upside down on location 13. That's off the coast of Bermuda. We'll place that there. All right. So Captain Blood is still in control of the deck. He was the last operator, so we'll draw another card. And this one is player number 2, and it's got a KC there. So player number 2 is not on the board yet, so that's his first priority. We have to determine a pirate for dummy player 2. So for dummy player 2, we're going to get out the deck. We'll give that a cut and find out who the pirate is. And the pirate is Walter Kennedy. He will be in command of Santiago. So Captain Walter Kennedy comes on the board. He's not very skilled. He's only got an ability of 2, cruelty of 3, leadership of 3, cunning of 2. His dueling is 3 on attack, 2 on defense with 4 endurance. All right, we're going to place him on the board. And I think we're going to start him somewhere. Well, there's the only merchant ship on the board are in the Gold Coast, the Indian Ocean, or the North Atlantic. I think we're going to place him in the North Atlantic, and I'm going to give him a sloop as well. So we'll start him out with a sloop. All right, so we've set up Walter Kennedy's ship. It's a sloop. And we're going to place him in the North Atlantic in sea lane 13. There's a target there. So Walter Kennedy is going to be stalking a merchant ship southwest of Bermuda. And his crew morale starts at 7 as well. All right, so all the pirates now, all the players have a pirate on the board. And our last mover is going to be Walter Kennedy. So Walter is up next, and the activation is draw 2 merchants. Okay. So we're going to draw another card, check the merchant location on the card, and we're going to place 2 merchants in that location. So 2 merchants are going into sea zone or sea lane 36. So we'll be placing 2 merchants randomly from the cup a little off the coast of Martinique in the Windward Islands. Two prizes. All right, player number 2, Walter Kennedy, is still in control of the deck. And it is player number 2, so Kennedy is going to take another action. All right, Kennedy is southwest of Bermuda, and he's stalking a merchantman. Let's take a look at that. He'll decide if he's going to launch an attack on it. We have a French flute with a strength of 2, and he will launch an attack. And so we're going to attempt to take a prize with Walter Kennedy. He is stalking a French flute. And it says, a pirate may attempt to take a prize whenever starting his turn in the same hex with a merchant. So as it is listed on the card, versus a merchant, we're going to take our combat level, add in our speed modifier, and our ability, and subtract out the target defense to arrive at a attack number. So we've got 6 plus 3 for our speed modifier is 9, plus our ability is 2, that's 11, minus 2 for the defense strength of our target gives us 9. So we have to roll 2 dice. And we're going to try to roll 9 or less. If we're successful, we're going to take the prize. And we've rolled a 10. His target number was a 9, so he's 1 over the target number. That means he's going to take damage instead. If you're 1 or 2 points over the total that you're looking for, you'll take either 1 or 2 points of damage. If the total is 3 or greater, the ship simply escapes. So Captain Kennedy's ship is going to take 1 point of damage, and will slide his combat strength down to 5. In addition, his crew morale will suffer. And on here it says -1 per point of combat damage sustained, but not from scurvy. So we'll move that down 1, and his crew morale now is slipping because of his failure. In addition, he has a chance of taking a personal injury for each point of non-speed damage sustained by a pirate or king's commissioner from any cause, including scurvy. That player must make an immediate injury D6 roll to determine whether the pirate himself is injured. Any result other than a 1 has no effect. However, if he rolls a 1, he must draw an action card and consult the bottom line to determine the effect of that injury. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We will roll a D6 and see if Captain Kennedy sustained an injury during that attack. He rolled a 3, so he's okay. And what happens now is this target is still there, and it'll remain in his space, and he could attack it in the future. So we're going to place that merchant face up on top of his counter to show that he has encountered. And the reason we do that is there are modifiers to the amount of notoriety that we're going to get based upon whether this was our initial attack against the ship or if it is a pursuit and we're giving chase. Now Captain Kennedy is going to gain an attack history against France. So we have to get out a French attack history and place that on his card. This attack history is going to disallow him the ability to enter French ports now because he is an enemy of the state. So we've marked Captain Kennedy with a French attack history. He's still in control of the deck, so we'll see who's up next. And we've got pirate number 2, that's Kennedy again, and he has a KC designation. That says King's Commissioners can be activated through petitions or random events. A player without a KC may petition the Crown for one during his turn as a KC operation. A player successfully petitions the Crown by making a D66 roll that is equal to or less than the notoriety of any active opposing pirate. Well, nobody has any notoriety, so he's going to take a standard turn instead. And he is going to pursue this French flute once again, and he's going to attempt to take him. So once again, he's going to attempt to take that flute. He has a combat strength now of 5. We add his speed modifier of 3 is 8, and his ability of 2 is 10. We subtract out the defense of the target. That's 2, gives him a target number of 8, so he needs to roll an 8 or less to be successful. We'll see if he is successful. And we've got a cocked die there. And he's rolled a 9, and that French flute has issued another point of damage to him. His ship strength now drops to 4, and the crew is not happy. And they're going to lose another point of morale, moving them down to 5. All right, and now we have to check for another wound for Kennedy. On a roll of 1, he's going to have an injury. He rolled a 2, so he's getting close to taking a personal injury. So that ship will be returned to the board, and he can continue to pursue it in the future. All right. He's in control of the deck, so we'll see who is nextly active. And we've got player 1, and that's us, Peter Blood. So we're currently patrolling near the Yucatan Channel, and we're going to try to take a prize. We're stalking this ship. Let's see what we've got here. And this is an unflagged schooner. It has a strength of 3. When a vessel is unflagged, we check the location that we're in, and that'll give us a flag there. In this case, it's a Spanish flag. So if we attack this, we're going to gain a Spanish attack history, and I think we will do so. So we'll add a Spanish attack history to Captain Blood, and we'll work out the attack for him. So we're attempting to take out this Spanish flagged schooner, and we'll go through the procedure just as we did with the lowly Walter Kennedy. Our combat strength is currently 6. We're going to add in our speed modifier, which is 3, that's 9, and our ability. Well, we're a little bit more able than Walter Kennedy. We have a 5. So that's a total of 14. We subtract out the defense value, gives us our attack number, and that's 11. So we've got to roll an 11 or less to be successful. And I made a mistake. This is not a schooner, that is a sloop. We know that from the diagram that we've got on our own vessel here. Okay, so we're going to make our attack roll and see if Peter Blood is successful. He needs an 11 or less. We've got an 8, so we've done it. We've taken that prize. Now, if we had rolled doubles, we'd be able to take the vessel if we chose to. If this was a different type of ship, we could take that for our own. That can pay dividends sometimes, giving us more holds, but the larger the ship, the slower it is. So the rules state, only after taking a prize does the pirate discover its value by drawing another action card and checking the cargo manifest section, cross-indexing the merchant defense with the currently occupied ocean. The result lists the worth of the cargo in terms of the captain's share. Okay. So this is a 3-strength ship, and we're currently in the Caribbean. So we're going to flip a card and cross-index that for the result. And in the Caribbean, with a strength of 3, it's worth 0. So it had nothing on board. And then after checking the cargo manifest, we're going to draw another card and check the hostage line to determine if there's a valuable passenger on board. The hostage line contains a number. If this number plus the merchant defense value plus the modifier for the ocean is equal to or greater than 10, that ship will contain a valuable passenger. And that is pretty good. So let's see if that is the case. The hostage number is 4. We add in the merchant defense, which is 7, and then we take a look to see if there is any modifier for the Caribbean. And checking the hostages box, we find out that the ocean we're operating in is the Caribbean, and there is no modifier there. So there is no hostage on board that ship. We've gotten nothing from that other than an attack history against Spain. So our first success was not much of a success. We gained nothing from the manifest. One thing we did gain from the encounter is we're going to gain some notoriety. That'll be based upon the cruelty level of our pirate. In this case, Peter Blood has a cruelty of 1. So that's going to earn us 1 notoriety, and we'll mark ourselves accordingly. So right now we are the most notorious pirate in the high seas with a notoriety of 1. Now, if we had encountered this ship before and it defeated us, we're going to get double the notoriety. And that says it's due to the cruelty rating is doubled for the vengeance that he wreaks on his victim for daring to resist. All right, so right now we have 1 notoriety, but our holds are empty. Captain Blood is in control of the deck, and we'll have him turn over another card. And we've got draw a new merchant. Okay. So we're going to draw a new merchant from the cup and place it in the listed location. So we'll draw another card and see where it goes. It's going to be going into location 22, and it's fairly close to us. All right, so we have to place a merchant in sea lane 22. That's very close to Captain Blood. And Blood will continue. He has control of the deck. And here's our next card. And we've got player 1, that is us. And I believe Captain Blood is going to order a move. So what we do there is we roll a d6 and add in our movement bonus for our vessel. In our case, it is +3. This will tell us how many movement points we have. We've rolled a 3, so 3 + 3 is 6, more than enough to move to sea lane 22 and get in position to scout out that merchant ship in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, Blood is still in control of the deck. And we've got player number 2. That is going to be Walter Kennedy. Well, Walter Kennedy is still messing around with this flute, 2 strength. And he's going to renew his attack once again. He's going to attempt to take it. So, a frustrated Walter Kennedy is ordering another attack on the French flute. His combat strength is now 4, +3 for his speed is 7, +2 for his ability is 9, -2 for the target. His target number is 7, and he's already decided that if this doesn't work, he's going to use cunning. Here's the roll. And we've got another cocked die there. And he's done it. He's got a 5, so he's taken the French flute finally. Now, since this was an ongoing capture, he's going to receive double his cruelty in notoriety. So Kennedy has a notoriety now of 6. And we'll find out what was in the holds of that French flute. So we'll draw a card and see what the manifest has to say. This is taking place in the North Atlantic. North Atlantic, and it has a defense strength of 2. It's worth 30, so that's going to put 30 into one of the holds. Now, if we examine this card a little more closely, under Cargo Manifest, it says DNR. That's a mandatory debauchery and revelry. That means that his crew is looking for a little fun. And the rules state mandatory DNR. Some prizes, due to their newly captured supply of rum or women, they provide as indicated by the DNR symbol on the cargo manifest, and are more likely to create DNR. If a pirate refuses mandatory DNR, even if the cargo is refused, he suffers a point loss on the crew unrest track. So, in this case, Walter Kennedy is going to declare debauchery and revelry. So what this means is we're going to be placing a DNR token on the ship. That means that while these pirates are conducting their debauchery and revelry, they're going to be -2 to battle strength or interceptions rolls if they're attacked while this token is active. What will happen is the next time that Walter Kennedy is activated, we remove the DNR token. He can still take a King's Commissioner action if he chooses, but his ship is pretty much down for the count. His pirates are imbuing quite a bit of rum. So the declaration of that DNR is going to help his morale, and that's going to move Kennedy's crew unrest from 5 up to 6. Now we have to check to see if there is going to be a hostage. We'll check the hostage number on the next card, and that's a 10. 10 plus the strength of the ship is 12, and then if there's a modifier for North Atlantic, there is +1, that's 13. So there is 1 hostage. So we're going to mark Kennedy with 1 hostage. All right. And it also says torture. On the turn of capture, a pirate may torture his hostage to amuse his crew, thereby adding 1 to his crew unrest status, and gain information to help in attacking the hostage's port. The questioning process is conducted with a D6. If he rolls equal to or less than his cruelty rating, he gets the information. If he rolls greater than his cruelty, he does not. However, if the D6 is less than his cruelty rating, the hostage dies. A hostage can be tortured only once. If he provides the information, that pirate records the port's name. Port information is useful until the owning pirate retires or dies, the governor is replaced, or the port is attacked. Okay. So we're going to draw another card, and we're going to check the HP number. That will be the home port of the hostage. And this one in the North Atlantic is 11. So that is going to be Boston. All right. So the home port of that hostage is Boston. And Kennedy is going to amuse his crew with a little torture. That's automatically going to raise his crew morale up 1. He's up to 7 again. Now we'll have to make a roll, and we'll check his cruelty rating. Here's the roll. He's rolled a 5, so he gets no information from the hostage. Now those hostages can be ransomed. That is a operation that he can conduct in a port. In the rules state, hostages become net worth by ransoming them in any port. Ransoming each hostage requires a separate operation. To complete the operation, we're going to make a D6 and multiply it by 100 to determine the amount gained, plus or minus the appropriate percentage of the type of port. So Kennedy finally has a little bit of success. This ship now is put back into the draw cup, and we're ready for our next turn. Kennedy is in control of the deck. Here is the card. And we've got player number 3 with a KC, King's Commissioner. All right, well, none of the pirates right now have a notoriety of 11 or greater, which is the minimum that you have to have in order to petition the crown for a King's Commissioner. So player 3, John Taylor, is going to take an action. All right, Taylor is in the Arabian Sea, and he's going to conduct a move action. So we will roll a die and add his speed ability, which is +3. 1 and 3 is 4. He's got 4 movement points. He's going to move and investigate this merchant ship here. All right, that's his turn. So Taylor will be in control of the deck. Here is the result. And we've got player number 1, and that's us, Captain Blood. So Captain Blood is going to attempt to take a prize, and we'll take a look at that merchant ship in Space 22. And we have a very strong ship that is unflagged. So that is going to be a Spanish vessel. Now we already have a Spanish attack history, but we'll be going up against an 8 strength vessel. Pretty tough. And I think rather than taking a hit to crew morale, we're going to go through with the attack on the Spanish 3-master. Alright, so we're going to take the strength of our ship 6, plus the speed modifier is 9, plus our ability is 14. We subtract the 8 for the strength of the target, gives us a target number of 6. That's pretty tough. But we can use cunning if we choose. Here's his attack roll. He's rolled a 4, and not only that, he's rolled doubles. And the rules state, if a captured merchant has a silhouette type matching that of a captured pirate or of any currently unused ship log, the pirate wants to trade ships, he may do so if his capture die roll 12 is doubles and the pirate sustained no damage while attacking that ship in previous turns. Well, this would give Peter Blood the chance to upgrade his ship. That would allow us to gain a 3-masted square rigger with 5 holds and a combat level of 10. Problem being is its speed modifier is 0. So that's a big decision for us. And I think we are going to stick with the sloop for now. And we'll find out what the value of this hull is. So we're going to draw a card, and we will check the Caribbean with a strength of 8. All right, Caribbean, strength of 8 is worth 750 doubloons. We'll mark ourselves accordingly. So we've got 750 doubloons in hold 1. Our notoriety is going to rise based on our cruelty. We have a cruelty of 1, so we'll move that up to 2. In addition, our crew morale will rise by 1. We're at 8. Now, checking this card that we use to determine the value, there is no mandated debauchery and revelry. So we don't have to declare one, and I don't think we will at this point. Our crew morale is doing just fine. We'll check for hostages. Draw a card and check the hostage number. Hostage number is 3. Value is 8, that's 11. And we're in the Caribbean, there is no modifier. So we're over 10, and we're going to gain a hostage. So we will mark our hostage accordingly. All right. Captain Blood is not in the habit of torturing hostages, so he will not do that. And we'll keep the hostage and possibly ransom them in the future. All right, Captain Blood is in control of the deck. Here's the next activation. And we've got remove odd merchants. So all merchants on odd hexes or shipping lanes will be removed. Well, we've got 36, that's an even, but we do have a 53 down here and a 55 where Captain Taylor is, so these are going to be removed. Taylor has lost a target once again. And now we're going to draw a card and place a merchant in the indicated space. And this time it is 12. So we'll be placing a merchant up in Sea Lane 12. It's off the coast of Virginia. All right. So you can see how this action deck controls most of the activities in the game. It's quite a very innovative system. Okay, Peter Blood is still in control of the deck. And we get player number 2 with a KC designation. Player number 2 is Walter Kennedy. His crew right now is involved in debauchery and revelry, so they're going to recover from that. That token will be removed, and he would be able to take a King's Commissioner action if he had a King's Commissioner present, or he could petition the crown. We're still waiting for someone to have notoriety of 11 or greater to do so. So that will end Kennedy's activation, and he's in control of the deck. Okay, here's the next card Kennedy is drawing. And we've got player number 3, and that is John Taylor. Well, Taylor has no targets in the Indian Ocean, so he's going to move. And if he can spend all of his movement points, he'll be able to conduct a search at the end of that. So we'll have him move. He's going to roll a d6 and add his speed rating. He rolls a 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. So he has 6 movement points. And I think Taylor will head towards the ports that are on the Indian coast. So we'll move him 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And since he's there, he's used up all of his movement points. He's going to conduct a search. So what we do there is we draw a card and look under the search line. And we've got no sighting. That will complete his turn. So Taylor is in control of the deck. And we've got player number 3 once again. So Taylor is up again. So Taylor is looking for a target in the Indian Ocean. He'll do a move action. He rolls a cocked die. 3. So he's got a total of 6 movement points, and he'll scour the seas for a new target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'll head south, and we'll do a search. And in this case, he's found a warship. Uh-oh. And that reads, a new warship is drawn from the cup, placed in the searcher's hex or transit box, and attempts interception, barring successful evasion if in coastal waters. All right, so Captain Taylor could be in trouble. We're going to draw a random warship, and it is going to attempt to intercept him. Okay, here is the warship. And we're going to reveal its statistics, and we will attempt an interception. All right, it is an unflagged warship. So what we do there is, since we're not in a shipping lane, we have to calculate what type of ship this is. So it's considered to have the flag of the closest port. So let's calculate that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Portugal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the Moors. So it's either Moorish or Portuguese. So in this case, since they're equidistant, we'll check this other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only 5 to Ethiopia, so it will be Moorish. All right, so this interception attempt will be resolved by each side rolling a die. The red is going to be the warship. The blue will be Captain Taylor. Taylor is going to add the speed value of his ship, and he needs to be higher than the value of the warship in order to escape. Otherwise, combat will result. Here's the roll. All right, he's done it. Taylor has an 8 total, the warship a 3. So he's managed to avoid that warship. So that warship is going to stay in his space. And if we have a random event, it's going to be an automatic interception. So he needs to leave that location as quickly as possible. All right, Taylor is in control of the deck. And we've got player number 1, and that is us, Captain Blood. All right, Captain Blood is doing quite well. He's got a crew morale of 8, and we have a hold worth 750 doubloons. So, we already have a Spanish attack history, so we can't go into any Spanish ports, but we can go into these pirate havens. We don't get quite as much of a return on our booty as we would at a friendly port, but we'll see what happens. I think Blood is going to declare a move. We'll have him roll the dice and add 3 for his speed. So he's got a total of 5. We've got 5 movement points. And I think we'll head towards New Providence for the time being. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're in the Florida Keys right now. We're in a coastal area. All right. Now we could attempt a search there if we choose, but it's kind of risky in a coastal area. I think Captain Blood is going to just go on with the next turn. He's in control of the deck. And we've got player number 3 with a King's Commissioner. Well, player number 3 is Taylor, and he's going to move away from that warship that is pursuing him. Okay, he's going to make a movement, and he'll get +3 for the movement modifier. He rolls a 5, that's 8. So he's got 8 movement points. I think he's going to head for the transit box. He's going to move into the Gold Coast if possible. So he's got 8 movement points. And we'll have him move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he'll move to that shipping lane 53. Now he spent all of his movement points, so he could do a search, and I think he will. Search is no sighting, so he finds nothing there, and he'll continue on with being in control of the deck. Okay, here's the next card. And we've got draw a new merchant. All right. So we'll flip another card and find out where the merchant's going, and that is going to be in shipping lane 44. Okay. Shipping lane 44 is off the north coast of Hispaniola. Okay, here is the merchant ship, and we'll place that accordingly. Captain Taylor is still in control of the deck. And we get player number 1, and that is Captain Blood. All right, Captain Blood is in the Florida Keys right now. So our options would be to move and try to pursue that new merchant ship that just popped up, or we could head to a pirate haven and sell some of our booty. That's another option. We have 1 hold that is available right now, so we don't have to do a sell immediately, but it might not be a bad idea to do that. We could possibly ransom that hostage as well. So let's make a movement roll, +3 for our speed. So we've got a total of 6 movement points. I think we'll just make our way to New Providence. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to anchor in New Providence. And this is the governor's box. It tells us that what type of port, and then gives us the statistics for entrance, selling booty, debauchery and revelry, refit, and letters of marque. We're entering the pirate haven. King's Commissioners not allowed without a squadron. So that is good for us. A squadron is when a King's Commissioner combines with a warship. Now when we sell booty, we're only going to be getting 80% of the value, so that's not so good. Debauchery and revelry would be mandatory. So these aren't necessarily the best places to sell our booty, but they are convenient. So Captain Blood is in control of the deck. And we've got player number 1 once again, so that's us. And I think Captain Blood is going to decide to ransom the passenger that he has captured. So we're going to roll a d6, multiply that by 100, and that's going to be the amount of ransom that we're going to get. Now we have to adjust this by whatever the booty number is within a pirate haven, in this case 80%. So here's the roll. We rolled a 4, so we've got $400, but we have to subtract 20% from that, and that'll be our final total. So that's going to equate to $320, 320 doubloons. So we're going to remove that hostage from our display. We've ransomed them, and we've earned 320 net worth. And I'm going to keep track of my net worth by using my dry erase whiteboard. And so we've marked Captain Blood with a net worth of $320. Now this net worth is still liable to be lost in the event of a mutiny. So the only way for us to protect this for endgame purposes is to acquire a safe haven, and then we can stash our net worth there. I'll have to try to acquire a safe haven by interacting with one of the governors. So Peter Blood is still in control of the deck. And we've got player number 2, and that is Walter Kennedy. Well, Kennedy has one hold available, so he's going to move and attempt to get to sea lane 12. Let's see if he can claim another prize. Okay, he's rolled a 3. His movement is +3, so he has 6 movement points, and he'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on top of that merchant ship. So he's in position to try to claim another prize. So Kennedy is in control of the deck. Here is the card, and it is player number 2. So Kennedy will go once again. We've gone through our deck, so we'll have to give that a shuffle. So Kennedy is in position, and he's going to attempt to take a prize. We'll examine this ship. And we've got a British sloop. So if he chooses to go through with the attack, he's going to have a British attack history. And that's going to take out most of those ports along the U.S. East Coast, including Virginia, which has a pro-pirate governor there. Problem is if he passes on this prize, his crew is going to drop in morale. All right, well, considering that this is a British flagged vessel, and that's going to knock out all of those British ports for Captain Kennedy, there is a rule here in the solitaire rules that says fair play. For a challenging game, the solitaire player should wear several hats, meaning he should suspend his loyalty to Captain Blood during the dummy moves and try to make moves which are to their best advantage, as if those forces were his own. The only way that this can be a truly challenging scenario is to take the best course of action for those dummy pirates. So in this case, considering the attack levels and his damaged vessel, I would think he would pass on this. So he's going to pass on attacking this British ship. It's going to have an effect on his crew morale, but Captain Kennedy thinks this is his best play. So we'll do that. It's going to move Kennedy's crew morale down to 6. All right, Kennedy is in control of the deck. Here is the first card. And we've got remove even merchants. Okay. So all merchants from even locations are going to be removed. So that vessel on 12 is going to be gone. 44, both in 36 are gone. And we're going to be placing a new one in a random location. And the new location is going to be sea lane 25. Okay. Sea lane 25 is southwest of Jamaica. All right. And we'll continue on with another draw by Captain Kennedy. And we've got player number 2. That is Captain Kennedy with a King's Commissioner designation. Well, we don't have enough to petition the crown, so he'll take his action. And I think the smart play for Kennedy is to do a move action, and he'll travel to Virginia. And it's a pro-pirate governor in place. We'll see what he can accomplish there. Here's his move. He rolls a 1, so 1 and 3 is 4. He's got 4 movement points. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and he'll anchor in Virginia. And maybe he can get some repairs on his vessel and sell whatever booty he has. And here's the next card. Kennedy is in control of the deck. And we've got draw a new merchant. So we'll be placing another merchant in space 26 this time. That's off of Isla de San Andreas. Okay. So we'll be placing a merchant in sea lane 26 in the southern part of the Caribbean. All right. Kennedy's still in control of the deck. And we've got draw another new merchant. And that'll be placed in shipping lane 44. And this will be placed north of Hispaniola. All right. And Kennedy is in control of the deck, and he has draw a random event. Uh-oh. That reads, besides introducing rare happenings, random events abstractly measure the passage of time. Whenever a random event occurs, any King's Commissioner or warship in the same hex or transit box with a pirate automatically intercepts. All blockaded pirates suffer a crew unrest penalty. The conditions of all pirates and King's Commissioners at sea with scurvy will worsen, and any KC or warship on an arrow may enter the transit box. A random event occurs when the action line indicates such. The player who drew it shuffles the deck and draws another card and checks the event line for the result. Unless stated otherwise, the event applies to him as follows. All right, so we're going to shuffle the deck. All right, so we've shuffled our deck, and we'll draw a card and check random event. And this says 17E, letter of marque. That reads, war in Europe has increased the opportunity for legal privateering. Draw a letter of marker at random. The first pirate with no attack history versus that nationality to complete the transaction may purchase that letter of marque from any neutral governor of the same nationality for the amount equal to D6 times $100 at the end of any sell booty operation. Alternately, the amount can be less if making the purchase from a pro-pirate governor or a safe haven of the same nationality as the letter of marque. The purchase amount is equal to a D6 times 50 for a pro-pirate governor. If purchasing a letter of marque from his safe haven, the pirate may deduct 50 times D6 from the purchase cost. The pirate need not actually sell booty to declare a sell booty operation, to bribe a governor to obtain the letter of marque. Now, the letter of marque is going to give us some protection in the event that we were confronted with a warship or King's Commissioner. We can try to use that letter of marque by consulting the double cross table. I'll bring that up on the screen. We'd make a D6 roll, and we could try to count on that letter of marque to protect us. So we're going to draw a letter of marque randomly from the cup. And this one is a English letter of marque. So I'm going to store these letters of marque up at the top of the board, and those are available for purchase. And Walter Kennedy will continue with control of the deck. And we've got player number 2 with the KC. That is Walter Kennedy. So he will take his own action, and he is currently in Virginia with a pro-pirate governor. All right, Kennedy is going to ransom the hostage that he has. So we'll make a roll and see what the value is. And he rolled a 2, so that has a value of 200 doubloons. Consulting our governor's table, we've got a pro-pirate port. And when we sell booty, we would receive 110% of the value. So that is going to increase Kennedy's net worth to 220 doubloons, and we'll mark it accordingly. And Kennedy is still in control of the deck. And we've got draw a new merchant. Okay, let's see where it's going. It's going to go in shipping lane 31. So we'll place another merchant ship off the southwest coast of Hispaniola. All right, quite a few merchants in the Caribbean. Okay, Kennedy is still in control of the deck, and we've got player number 3, and that's going to be John Taylor. All right, Taylor is still somewhat being pursued by this warship, and he doesn't like that. So I think he's going to try to enter into one of the transit boxes. Now, in order to enter the transit box, you have to spend a full movement to do that, but he's got to be on one of the transit arrows. So he'll try to get to that one of the transit arrows. We'll have him make a roll for movement, +3. And he's got a 2, so that's a total of 5. That's more than enough. And we'll have him move 1, 2, 3. Next activation, he can move into the Indian Ocean transit box, and then eventually into box 4 on the Gold Coast and exit there. And that's the problem with the Indian Ocean. The prizes there are much more valuable generally, but if warships appear there, you're kind of boxed in. Okay, Captain Taylor is in control of the deck, and he's got draw a random event. Okay, we'll have to shuffle the deck up, and he will be drawing the event. All right, we've shuffled our deck, and John Taylor will conduct random event, and this one says 17K King's Commissioner activated. Net reads, the drawing player automatically activates a King's Commissioner if he has less than 2 in play, or takes a King's Commissioner operation with a current KC instead. If within his speed rating on a transit box arrow, the KC may enter the transit box without stopping on the arrow hex or awaiting another random event, which is an exception to Rule 8.6. So, Captain Taylor is going to gain a King's Commissioner. So we'll get out our King's Commissioner cup and we'll draw one. He gains Stephen Baker, combat strength of 3 with a movement of 5. So what I like to do then is I mark the King's Commissioner with the player number equal to the owner or operator of that King's Commissioner. So player 3 now, which is John Taylor, is in control of Stephen Baker, and he's a 13-5 rating. We don't mark their values until they take damage. Their counter, numbers on the counter will control. So that King's Commissioner now is placed on the transit box that leads to the most notorious pirate. And in this case, the most notorious pirate is Walter Kennedy. Kennedy is currently in the North Atlantic. So Stephen Baker appears in transit box 1. Captain Taylor is in control of the deck, and we've got draw a new merchant. And that's going to appear in Sea Lane 34. Sea Lane 34 is off of the coast of the Dutch port of Curaçao. A lot of merchant activity in the Caribbean. And Taylor is still in control of the deck. And we've got draw a new merchant, and it's going into a random location. So we're going to roll a D66. The red die will be the tens, and the blue die will be the singles. So this is where it goes. It's going to go in 35. So we'll be placing a merchant to the southwest of the Aves Island. Wow. Total of 6 merchants just in the region of the Caribbean and the southern North Atlantic. Taylor continues with control of the deck. And we've got player number 2 with a KC designation. All right. Well, that's Walter Kennedy, and I think he is going to declare a refit. He's got to refit the damage on his vessel. And since Kennedy is doing his refit in a pro-pirate port, that allows him to repair 2 points of damage. So he's going to move his combat strength back up to full. That's great. All right, Kennedy is in control of the deck, and here we go. And we've got player number 2. That's Kennedy again, and I think he is going to declare a sell booty operation. He's only got 30 in the hold, but we want to clear that hold up. So what we do is we're going to take the 30 and give the multiplier for the pro-pirate port, which is 110%. So that's going to give him a total of 33 to his net worth. That's going to move Kennedy's net worth up to 253. Now that selling of 33 doubloons is not enough to gain any increase in crew morale. So I think Kennedy is going to declare a DNR for his crew. And that's going to gain him +1 on the crew morale, moving them up to 7. But now, since we are declaring a DNR, we're going to have to draw a governor from the governor's cup. And if it comes up to be anti, we're going to get ousted from the port. And that's not entirely correct. This is a pro-pirate port. So if we do declare the DNR, which we are going to draw a governor from the cup. And it says that if it is an anti-pirate in a pro-pirate port, the pro-pirate governor is permanently removed from play, unless it is his safe haven, in which case the pirate forfeits his safe haven status, and the pro-pirate governor remains. And the anti-pirate governors return to the cup. In all cases, any pro-piracy governor drawn is permanently removed from play. Okay, so we'll draw a governor from the cup, and we get pro-pirate governor Beeston. Okay, so in this case, Governor Phipps will remain in Virginia, but Beeston is removed from play. So it's over the course of the game, you're going to have less and less pro-pirate governors. They're going to have less tolerance for this, to a point where there won't be any more pro-pirate governors. So we're going to mark Kennedy with a debauchery and revelry token. And his crew will have to sleep off their rum consumption. But as they say, a happy crew is a healthy crew. So we'll go on with Kennedy's activation. We've got player one, and that's us. We're currently anchored in New Providence. All right, we're in New Providence, and I'm going to sell booty. We're going to sell our 750 doubloon contents of hold one. So as we are in a pirate haven, we're only going to get 80% of the value. So that's going to give us a total of 600 to our net worth. So hold one is clear, and we've gained 600 doubloons, moving us up to 920 in our net worth. But one result of selling booty in a pirate haven is we have a mandatory debauchery and revelry. Our pirates want to go out on the town and drink, drink, drink. So I think we will consider that. Let's take a look at the crew unrest adjustments. Well, we're going to gain +1 for each 100 doubloons of net worth increase from the sale of booty. So we just did 600, so we're going to gain 6 for that. So that would move us up to 14. Now, if we don't declare a DNR, we're going to drop 1 point. And I think I'm going to withhold that from the crew. They should be content with the sale of that. So we're going to lose 1 for canceling the mandatory DNR. Captain Blood explains to his crew that we've got more than enough time for drinking in the future. We've got all these merchant ships ready to take. Now, incidentally, I haven't done it in this game, but when I used to play this years ago, I would keep a ship's log, and I would log all the events that happened. This game is so thematic and has so much storytelling in it. It's nice to have a written log of what all happens to Captain Blood, and it's quite interesting reading after you're done playing the game. All right, Captain Blood is in control of the deck. And we've got, once again, Captain Blood is active. Well, our vessel is undamaged, and we've got both holds open, so I think we're going to set sail. So Captain Blood is going to declare a move action. He has +3 for his speed. And that's going to give us a total movement of 5. It's going to take 1 point to sail out of the harbor. And then I think we'll spend the rest of the movement moving towards space 44. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are on Samana Cay. Now, normally we'd be able to do a search action, but we can't when we leave a port because we have to spend all of our movement points moving from our existing location to the new location. Well, we spent 1 to get out of the port, so we're not eligible for a search action. And Captain Blood is in control of the deck, and we've got remove odd merchants. All right. So we'll take care of removing merchants from odd locations. 25, 31, 35, and 45 up in the Gold Coast. Okay, so those are gone. And we're going to be placing a new merchant now in location 56. 56 is on the India board. And that goes off the coast of the Gulf of Aden. Now, we haven't seen any port attacks yet. Generally, with port attacks, you want to make sure that you've got a little bit more powerful ship than just a sloop or a schooner. I had the opportunity to upgrade to a 3-master, but the speed of that is so slow that you can easily be intercepted by warships or king's commissioners. So it's kind of a trade-off, but in this game, survival is key. All right, Captain Blood is in control of the deck, and we've got draw a random event. Okay, we'll shuffle the deck and find out what the random event is. All right, the deck is shuffled, and this is Captain Blood's random event. And we've got 17F, Crew Unrest. And that reads, the player who drew the random event card may choose any pirate in play to undergo a mutiny check. All right. Well, as Kennedy is our next closest competitor, he has 253 net worth, we're going to target Kennedy. So he's going to undergo a crew unrest. And that reads, a possible mutiny occurs when a crew unrest random event is drawn. The drawing player selects a pirate of any player in play to undergo a mutiny check. We're going to roll a d12, and if the d12 roll is greater than the pirate's current standing on the crew unrest, a mutiny attempt occurs. All right, so we're going to give that a roll. Walter Kennedy's crew is at 7. So any roll greater than 7 is going to have a mutiny attempt. Here's the roll. And he's done it. He's passed it. He's got a 5. So his crew, restless, but his first officer brought them back into line. So although Kennedy survived the mutiny attempt, it's going to cost him a little bit in crew unrest, and he's going to drop down 1 to 6. All right. All right, and Peter Blood is in control of the deck. And it's going to be pirate number 3, and that is John Taylor. Well, Taylor is going to do a move action, and he's going to spend all of his movement to enter the transit box in the Indian Ocean. He's making his way for the Gold Coast. He's had enough of the Indian Ocean. And he's in control of the deck, and we have player number 1. That is Peter Blood. Okay, Peter Blood is going to declare a move action. He's got a +3 speed modifier. It gives him 9 movement points. And let's see here. I think he's just going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 and get himself in position to take a prize in sea lane 44 in a future turn. And we're getting close to about an hour and a half on this video, so I think I'm going to call the video here. If this is something that the viewers are interested in, I'll continue the playthrough, but this is such an old game. It dates back to 1991. I don't know how many people are interested in this, but what a great storytelling game that this is. So if it ends up that the viewers are interested in this, I'll continue the playthrough. Otherwise, we're going to move on to our next title in the queue. So in the meantime, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club, signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant evening and happy gaming. Good night.